So this is my issue with the whole Cloud9 Furia match yesterday is that I tuned in. I was like, all right, cool. Cloud9 Furia. Let's see what Cloud9 have got. But, Furia, they're through the groups. So they're already through no matter what happens at this point. Things are looking up. Things are looking good. So I'm not sure what to expect. But, I do expect Furia to win, right? I do expect Furia to win. And yet here we are, 16-6. And okay, so fair enough. The way that my mind was working in this match was like, okay, this is, you can't stop Cloud9 from getting overpass if they get overpass, right? Because you got the bans, you get your bans in, and then you go straight to overpass, right? Fair enough. You can't keep Cloud9 off of that. Cloud9 looked really prepared. They looked good. But the whole time I was watching overpass, I was like, is this Furia? Like, this isn't Furia. They're like missing shots. They're not really supporting each other. They're kind of disjointed. I was like, okay, maybe, every team can have an off map. And again, you're always thinking, right? Because that's why I despise these group formats where teams can already be through. And so then they get to just play, they get to ruin the group for other teams because they keep playing despite the fact that they're already through into the playoffs. So they don't really have anything to play for. And, you can go on about prize money or seed or whatever, but it's just like, listen, at the end of the day, these guys, all they want to do is survive this group and get into the playoffs. After that, it's a totally different game as far as they're concerned. And so going into the first map, I was just like, Furia, maybe the first map, whatever. But I mean, it's Furia, and come on, they're not going to get rolled. They're not going to let Cloud9 beat them up like this for free. And then Nuke shows up, and I pretty much just tuned out when Cloud9 were up like 10-0. And I was like, all right, this is out. This is so done. Like, Furia are not playing. It just did not feel... It felt just disjointed. And you know what was funny about it is that I noticed afterwards, and hold on, this is like, we're going to look at this, but like, whatever. Devil Walk, I don't need to show you the tweet, but like, you can go back if you want to find it. But Devil Walk was like, Furia looks so disjointed right now. And I was just sitting here like, what the hell's going on with Furia? They just look so weird. And it's like, oh yeah, right, because group format, right? Because it's round robin, because they're already through no matter what. No matter the outcome of this match, they are through. There is no outcome now that's possible in the remaining 3 best of 3s that are going to happen. There's no way that they're out of it anymore. And so I was just sitting here going, well, okay, I guess, does that explain it? Or else, is there something deeper? Do we go deeper on this? Because at this point, if Furia were 4-1, right? If Furia win tonight, that makes it a little awkward. There is one reality where Na'Vi are out if Furia win, right? But if Furia let Gamut go in and Furia wins, then there's 2 chances for Na'Vi to be out. Not that Na'Vi need any help right now, sucking, because whatever they're to the point where they're willing to throw their own in-game leader onto the bus and just go like, and not even that. It's not even their in-game leader. The in-game leader threw the teammate under the bus. Electronic, I mean, Boomich just freaking chucked Electronic under there after that match last night. Like, oh, it wasn't me calling, it was Electronic. As fast, like, I'm sure that really goes to show the level of support these teammates have for one another right now, how tight-knit that group is. Because, I mean, it's not like they're taking it as a team. Like, hey, win as a team, lose as a team, that's it. And that's all I'll say on the matter, right? When a team is gelling, right, they're not saying, oh, it was this guy's fault or whatever, When a team is gelling, it's just like win or lose, you did it as a unit, right? Everybody did their job. Everybody did their work. Or you're just like Hobbit, where you take no credit and it's just all of your teammates and you have the best teammates to ever exist. That's why Hobbit is awesome and everybody loves Hobbit. But last night, Na'Vi just freaking chucking them under them. And it's just like, if you want a clear sign that things are just going out of control over in Na'Vi right now, that's got to be it. Because as soon as people are no longer watching each other's backs, as soon as they start, stabbing each other in the back, that's when you think there isn't going to be a whole lot left in this roster, is there? There isn't going to be a whole lot to build on here, is there? Because now they're just starting to be, become traitors, really. And that never leads to good things. That's never a good time. So a little bit concerned for Na'Vi, but I was over here wondering, like, okay, is there some advantage for Furia in this? Not that Na'Vi are the biggest threat, but I mean, it's still simple. You never really want simple around in a bracket. Na'Vi have pulled off crazy bracket runs in the past. As soon as you get into a bracket, all of a sudden Na'Vi, they look really trash at the beginning of the tournament, but they're like Goku in the background. They're just screaming into the distance, powering up. The longer he gets to scream, the stronger they get. And so Na'Vi have done that in the past, where they look really weak at first, but then they're like, oh, now it's time up. Now you're making me angry. And then Simple just starts getting, just fragging harder and harder and harder as the tournament goes on. Rest of the team follows behind him, and all of a sudden you're looking at Navi winning a tournament. So it can happen. So if you can get rid of Navi, now there, and all of a sudden you let Cloud9 into the bracket, maybe deep down, secretly, Furia, they're all Henry G fans. They want to help a brother out. They just love him. They've got tattoos. He's got tattoos. It's the link is there, right? And all of a sudden, they're making plays to maybe, this case 2 here. Hey, if it happens that they manage to beat, right, Gambit, which I think Furia could. I called it. I said Furia beat Gambit. So I'm thinking, case 2 is probably what happens. Although, as I say, case 2 is probably what happens. I don't even think Navi can lose to Team 1. I mean, I think we have to draw the line somewhere. I don't even think Navi can lose to Team 1, to be fair. But if case 2 happens here, Cloud9 beating MIBR, expected. Definitely has to happen. Furia beating Gambit, possible. Definitely possible. Although if Furia play like they did last night, I don't know. Yesterday, to me, it's just like Furia just looked like they couldn't get their heads in the game, right? They're already through. The pressure is relieved. They're through the groups. They achieved what they needed to achieve, right? They made it through this group, which was going to be a struggle. Good teams here, but they made it through. And then they're playing against Cloud9, and it's just like they're going into that match. Yeah, they respect Cloud9 and all that, but they're probably not respecting him. You're probably not showing as much respect as you would like a Navi, for example, right? Or even a Gambit at this point. So, you're going into it like, yeah, well, okay, Cloud9. And all of a sudden, Cloud9 just come out swinging. They're just beating you up right out the gates, and you're just like, oh my God, what's nothing's working. Now you're starting to get desperate, right? You're getting behind on rounds. You're starting to get desperate, so it gets even worse because you're trying to force situations instead of situations happening naturally. You're not really playing to your strengths. Art is going for his pushes. They're not working. Serado's trying to click heads. All of a sudden, the heads are disappearing. He's not managing to click them anymore. Everything that goes wrong. And because you just keep trying to force the situation, right? Because you're losing against Cloud9. And so things just continue to spin out of control, and it just continues to get worse and worse. So yesterday, the Furia that we saw against Cloud9, not really sure what Furia that was. The Furia against Gambit, though, I think, is going to be a much more interesting Furia, because I think Furia going head-on against Gambit, they know what to expect. Katowice champions. These guys frag hard. They're one of the best CIS teams right now. Nobody is taking this team lightly. Hell, Furia is probably scrimmed against these guys a whole bunch, considering Furia are pretty much living over in Serbia now. They're there full time. Gambit, CIS teams, they're scrimming. Those guys are known for putting in work. Furia, all they have to do while they're over here is put in work. And so they probably scrimmed against each other a bunch. So they're going to know that these guys, they're here to play. They're not to be taken lightly. So I think Furia, even though they're through the group, and both of these teams are through the group pretty much no matter what happens now, both of these teams are through. Now that we're going to see the gloves come off, and I think it's everything on the line between these two. They're just going to go hard at each other and just try to establish, because it's a massive win. It's a massive win if you're Fury and you beat Gambit. That's the Katowice champion you're taking down. It's not some no-name Cloud9 that nobody really takes seriously yet, because this is their first big win. It's like, oh my God, Cloud9, it turns out they can do something after all, right? Nobody was expecting anything from this win, from Cloud9. Everybody's expecting something against Gambit, though. You're not going into this one just half-assed. Furia are definitely going to be looking to beat Gambit, and I think Gambit want to establish themselves. They've got their own bit to prove right now, that they're the team to beat. That they are the team they're the champions of Katowice, and so they damn well better be topping their group. And if they can top their group 5-0, that sends a pretty clear message, especially when you got those Danes over there, Heroic, doing the same thing. Gambit, they need to make sure that they establish themselves as a top dog here. That's just like some rambles, all over the place. Thoughts on last night? Definitely not really sure what to expect from Furia, but, it's a thing.